Well, ladies and gentlemen,
it's all over!
After 12 grueling weeks, the shackles of bondage have been lifted as we reach the finale of The Ultimate Fighter Season 31. Would I be lying in saying that there's some small part of me that's going to miss this show? Yes, absolutely I would be. Watching this horse shit has been the equivalent of sticking bamboo shoots under my fingernails for the last 2.5 months, and I hope to jettison it into the ether and out of my memory forever as soon as the filming of this video concludes. Nevertheless, we've got one more wet fart of an episode to get through, this week featuring the last of the semi-final fights between Cody Gibson and Rico DiGiulio. Full disclosure, Cody Gibson somehow found this channel and is a fan of the content, so shout out to him for that. But I pride myself on being as objective as possible in these videos, so as all these nice guy fighters say, Cody, afterwards we can be friends, but for the next 5 to 8 minutes, go fuck yourself. With all that being said, let's take one more ride on Satan's merry-go-round. For the last time ever, it's episode 12 of The Ultimate Fighter, season 31, Team McGregor versus Team Chandler. The episode begins with Rico's fight prep, where Connor continues to dish out the high-quality precision coaching advice that has catapulted his team to such great heights for this entire season.
Everyone have to shoot and roll or do something. They're here. Where are we going? Where are we going?
God, I cannot wait to go back to only having to hear this maniac babble this way in voice memos on Twitter, because having to hear it in real time when someone is actually depending on him for guidance makes me feel the same way I feel when our current president tries to string a sentence together. Back at the TUF House, Michael Chandler stops by to spend some quality time with all of the contestants from the show before this hellish little experiment concludes.
I heard we have some crawfish.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Get some crawdads yet? See some crawdads.
Again with the goddamn crawfish. This show has had so many crawdads on it that it's single-handedly inflating the Louisiana Crawdack Index. Which is a real thing that they have on television down there, because the American South is a rich tapestry of shit that has to be seen to be believed. Everybody enjoys their mud bugs, has a good time, and then much like myself at parties, Michael Chandler dips before the cleanup begins.
Thanks for the crawfish. See you, boys.
All right.
Galaxy brain. We then cut to the prospects, who are being taken out to a steak dinner, which of course is the very least that they deserve for being subjected to this abomination of a season, where Carlos gives a very lovely and entirely undeserved toast to Connor and the coaches.
You have taught us from day one what a humble person, which we all are, has done in the journey of martial arts.
Humble? Excuse me, did you say humble? Would you take a fucking time machine back to 2013? Humble? Duh!
You've shown us perseverance. You've shown us an iron will. You've shown us a little bit of fuck you.
Judging by the wins and losses on this season, I'd say he's shown you a lot of fuck you. Everybody eats, they all enjoy copious amounts of whiskey, and then Connor gives $1,000 to each of the prospects, which, knowing the UFC, they'll probably all have to spend on airfare just to get home from Las Vegas. We then shift gears over to Cody's fight prep. Not a whole lot to see here, except for this one piece of information that he offered, which indeed I did not know about fighting.
You know, one of the things that people don't understand about fighting is that when they lock the cage door, there's an invisible sign over the door. And the only two people who can see that sign are the two guys who are about to fight. And it's an exit sign. My intention each time I go out there is to make that exit sign glow for my opponent.
Deep, bro. You should, write a book or something, man. I'm serious, dude. You could do it. Back at the TUF House, we get a reminder that this is indeed a reality show where Cody and Brad go back and forth, with Cody telling Brad exactly how he feels about him and his fighting style.
There's a reason there's 16 guys in this house and 15 don't like you.
I think some people like me.
Newsflash.
I'm pretty sure.
Newsflash. Nobody does. I was watching one of your Brave fights and I had to turn it off because I was so bored. You were just hugging the guy against the cage for 15 minutes. Can't wait to smash it, bro.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
It'll be like Christmas.
Be careful, Cody. Things didn't go too well for the last guy who brought up Christmas on the show.
Christmas came early because I'm gonna light that boy up like the tree, dog.
After this little tiff and successful weigh-ins on both sides, we get the calls home, and this is when I really got concerned for Cody, because it's never a good sign when the fighter is crying more than his wife and kids.
You're almost there. Stay strong.
How have you been? How has everything been?
Good. I mean, it's the same, you know? We go crazy some days, and it's easy some days, and work's been fine.
I just love how Cody's getting the quiver lips, and his wife's like, I'm fine, the kids are fine, everything's fine, suck it up and go win your goddamn fights. Hollywood wants to push this girl boss narrative. Here's an actual one.
Hey, you know you tuck your arm under, and if he does this, I mean, you won that round, so do that.
Okay.
Shit, better advice than Connor gave all season. Someone should have got that kid to coach the prospects. Rico has his call home to his girl, his kids, and his mother, and not to give him short shrift, but there's not too much to talk about here, as it was pretty much all business and not overly emotional, which I would have expected to be the case out of more of the fighters on this show. Everyone's crying about being away from their loved ones for a couple of weeks, when I actually have to agree with Connor.
That's a break.
At long last, it's fight time, and once again we get a near complete exhibition of one-way traffic. Any semblance of injury to Cody's MCL was certainly not on display, as he adopted a more boxer-like stance to mitigate inside leg kicks, and really only had to eat a couple of shots before Rico slipped while throwing a lunging jab, allowing Cody to pounce on him like a house cat on an injured bird. Cody's control with the body triangle was ridiculously nice, keeping that thing locked in for a good minute and a half at the first go, and another 30 seconds or so later in the round. All throughout, Cody kept smothering Rico with submission attempts and some good hands before ultimately locking in the head and arm triangle and securing the submission victory. Rico threw a little bit of a temper tantrum at the end of this fight, even though there was one point where he slipped Cody off of his back and could have created distance, but didn't do it. Either way, I don't know if the outcome would have been much different, having seen what we saw earlier on in the fight. Either way, both fighters ship off to Boston, with Rico going home and Cody going to the TD Garden for UFC 292. So what have we learned on this season of The Ultimate Fighter? Well, aside from things that we already knew, like Connor is a lunatic, Michael Chandler is a nice guy, and the show absolutely blows now, I think the biggest thing that we learned is prospects versus veterans is an absolutely terrible format for this type of competition. It really set the prospects up for failure even before the show started, and that really sucks donkey balls. I also learned that there is no way in hell that I will ever be reviewing an entire season of this show ever again. If you like this content, I implore you to subscribe. The YAMMA show will return along with a lot of new content, and hopefully we will never say the words The Ultimate Fighter on this channel ever again. Good fucking riddance!
This has been an incredible 31st season of TUF.
This has been the most miserable experience I have ever subjected myself to in my entire life. And that includes the time that I spent 3 weeks living in a Waffle House in Daytona Beach.
It's